So hey guys, hold on for a second. Let me just get I forgot to power on my equipment. But we are going to be starting right out on this live right with what we're here talking about, because quite frankly, there's a lot of stuff going on that I wasn't able to cover this morning. And so I'm going to cover this. If you guys can't watch it until later, then just hit replay crew and type in there. I greatly appreciate it. But I was doing some research today, and there's a lot of stuff, a lot of crazy stuff going on right now in several different places, and it's a little concerning for me, to say the least. So I'm just going to kind of get right on into what we're here for. I've got 3 cases here. All 3 cases are very, very concerning. Hey, Mysteries, it's nice to see you guys. Oh, Amy, oh, Lady O, Nancy B, Kayla, Stevie's mom. Oh, it's so nice to see you guys. As you know, I don't usually do mid-afternoon lives, but I'm here working, and so I saw this and I was like, maybe I should just do a video on it. And I figured there was 3 cases, like literally back to back, that I was reviewing here, and I'm like, no, this is so long that I might as well just go ahead and go live. This would take me literally forever to try to break this all down. So I'm just going to drop right into this. This case here is really disturbing for me. And I'm starting off with this one because we have kind of a rule on YouTube that basically means that we can discuss things that are fleeting in nature as long as they're not graphic. So this is going to be kind of that. This may be disturbing to some of our viewers. This is related to a child. There's nothing graphic or anything like that, but it is quite shocking, I must say. Unfortunately, the volume is down on this particular video. I'm going to try. I've got the equipment on, so I'm going to try to increase the volume so you guys can hear it. But it was hard for me to hear when I was listening to it, but I like it. So we're going to listen to it now.
When the Gwinnett County Fire Department originally arrived, they didn't see any visible fires, but they heard some audible fire alarms.
That's best. I'm going to be able to get it for you guys.
Here in one of the apartment buildings. The Gwinnett County Fire Department made entry into that unit, and that's when they discovered an unresponsive boy inside. We believe he's about 6 years old, and he was suffering from multiple stab wounds. That young boy was transported to a local hospital with a police escort to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta in Atlanta. What began as originally an apartment fire turned now into a criminal investigation. So our officers were out here not only transporting the young child to a local hospital, but they also had to start a criminal investigation and also start to look for anybody who may be responsible. At approximately 9:15 this morning, one of our officers found a woman behind the building. This woman was not wearing any shoes. She had on one sock, and her clothing was wet. She was immediately taken into custody and transported from the scene. We do know that that woman does reside in the same unit where the boy was, but we're still working to determine exactly what her role in this criminal investigation is.
Marty, would you say that she's a person of interest, or could she be another victim?
At this point, we believe her to be a person of interest, but it's still too early to officially name her as a suspect until criminal charges are filed.
Do we think she's been there the entire time if this was called in at 7 and not found until 9 o'clock?
It's unclear right now exactly how long she has been either inside the apartment or even outside before our officers found her.
So basically let me turn the volume. I got all these volumes up that I'm just literally screaming in my ear. So basically what they did is they were reporting to a fire. A fire had been set in this home or apartment. It looks like an apartment. And they were coming to to extinguish the fire. And then they find this little boy, and this little boy is really, really injured. And so they transport the boy to the hospital where he loses his life. And the mom is found 2 hours later hiding out around, it sounds like in bushes or whatnot, and is ultimately charged with that 6-year-old's demise. It's pretty heartbreaking. And again, you know, this is the mom here. Let's see if we can find, I think this one would be right here. There we go. So there's the mom. She's young, you know, she's really young. I don't know what's going on, but you can see the age in this girl's face, and she's just really young. You don't know, you know, is there an alcohol element here? Is there a drug element here? Is there just a violence element here? Is this just a mom that was just, you know, coming off her third shift and just lost it, you know? I don't know. I really don't know what's going on in this young girl's life, but I have to think that, you know, the child being 6 years old, they're not talking about this child being in poor health and stuff like that, it just sounds like she really just went off the deep end. And I always wonder, you know, when you hear about this stuff, why? You know, why? I mean, it was so brutal too. It was so brutal. But that's really one aspect of this. Here's the one that Massachusetts State Police is seeking our help right now. This young man here has just brutalized and killed his wife, which is the girl next to him. He is currently on the run right now. I've got another story after this one, but this one's going to take a bulk of our time that we're on here. Again, I just want his face out there. I want people looking for him. I don't know what he's in because it sounds like they have the vehicle as well. There's a lot of stuff here on social media related to them. It looks like a normal, everyday couple that you're accustomed to seeing. You know, out. It's happy couple. It looks like they had a life that many dreamed of. They had a beautiful home. They for all intents and purposes, appeared happy. And something has happened. Something happened in their life that just made it go really south. And I've got my videos all screwed up here. I got another big case after this one that we are going to be talking about as well. Give me just a second. I think it's this one. No, it's not. Maybe it is this Facebook. I thought I had another. I think I accidentally got, sorry guys, trying to get all this stuff together, but I think I accidentally closed something I should not have closed because I have all of their. Oh, crap. I think I did. Okay. Either way, here's their Facebook and a couple of different things. But again, look at them. They look happy. They look healthy. They have there's the car. So again, you're driving around. That looks like a BMW. Their house is gorgeous. So you've got all of these things that are going on. This family looks like they are perfect. And so here's Syracuse.com. 4 children went to a neighbor's home for help Sunday because their mom was in their bedroom crying and their father had disappeared. After the neighbor called 911, police rushed to the Massachusetts home to find Breanne Pennington, the mother, dead in the bedroom with a gunshot wound to the face, court documents reported. A manhunt is now underway for Breanne's husband, Aaron Pennington. Before her death, the mother was planning to move with their children to Texas to get away from her husband, an affidavit said. Many of you guys know, I say all the time, one of the most dangerous times to leave is leaving. It truly is the leave, but you have to go. Because honestly, if she stayed, her fate would most likely be the same. There's a lot of help out there. If somebody wants to put the National Abuse Hotline, Domestic Abuse Hotline up, I'd really greatly appreciate it. This is a story we hear all too often here on the Bullhorn Betty channel of these domestic violence situations. escalating to epic proportions to the point somebody loses their life. And this woman is no different, and she leaves behind 4 beautiful children. And we know how devastating this is. We are, watching the whole Rachel Morin case unfold also nearby in the neighboring state of Maryland. She was violently killed on a jogging trail by a stranger, leaving behind 5 children that are all now having to be split apart and live in separate homes. I believe 3 separate homes to be exact, if I'm not mistaken. And now this young couple, mom is gone, dad is on the run, his life is over. There is no winners in this situation. There's a whole bunch of losers. But at the end of the day, this man, Aaron, needs to be brought to justice. Wherever he may be, he needs to turn himself in before anybody gets hurt. And we need to tell him to think about his children, his 4 beautiful children. I pray to God he thinks of them and turns himself in and realizes that he needs to be held accountable for what he has done. Just sad. Just sad. Give it just a second. Should be something loading. There it is. It's going to take a second. I don't know why it's running so slow on this one.
Of a woman found dead in garden. Police say this man, Aaron Pennington, should be considered armed and dangerous. I'm Mark Cotton.
I'm Carrie Kavanaugh in for Vanessa Welch. New tonight, police say the victim's death is a homicide, and Pennington is wanted for questioning. Boston 25 News reporter Bob Ward following this story for us tonight live in Gardner. And Bob, I know you spoke with the victim's sister.
Yeah, the victim's family is just devastated. They tell me that she loved her family, loved her kids, loved living here in Massachusetts, but they say things were not perfect. And now the victim's husband is the subject of a nationwide manhunt. At 42 Cherry Street in Gardner, a tragic scene. Here, police stand watch at the home where a young mother, Breanne Pennington, was found shot to death Sunday morning in a second-floor bedroom. Her husband, Aaron Pennington, is missing and the subject of a state police manhunt. The couple's 4 young children who ran to a neighbor for help are now in DCF care. Breanne's family on the West Coast trying to come to terms with.
And it's very, very frustrating. I don't care, how dare you do this with your children in your home? How dare you do this with your children in your home? It's bad enough, right? This just shows you he lost all control. Lost all control.
With what's happened.
We're all in shock about this. We were all in shock. We had no idea something like this would ever happen.
Brooke Pertel is Breanne's younger sister. In a phone interview, she tells me Breanne loved living in Gardner and was looking forward to raising chickens in her backyard. And Breanne, she said, lived for her children.
She's a very loving, caring, compassionate woman, and she always saw the best in everything and people. She definitely lit up the room like no other, any room that she walked in.
In a criminal complaint, police revealed that Breanne and Aaron's relationship was deeply troubled. Police say Breanne was planning to move with her children to Texas so she could get away from Aaron. The report says Aaron suffered mental illness and had threatened to take his own life.
He, on the outside, he was a very nice person, but he's been struggling with some mental health issues, and they just were getting worse.
Brooke tells me she last spoke to her sister 3 days before Breanne's death. She tells me there were no red flags to the violence that unfolded in the house. Brooke is now urging Aaron to surrender.
He better turn himself in. He needs to stand up for what he did and turn himself in and not be a coward. He needs to turn himself in. He needs to do it for the kids.
I'm told the search for Aaron Pennington has gone nationwide. If you think you've seen him, contact Mass State Police. But remember, they consider him armed and dangerous. Do not approach him. Reporting live from Gardner tonight, I'm Bob Ward for your local station, Boston 25 News.
Bob,
And I just want to make that a note on here. You guys know my drumbeat when it comes to
The subject of a state police manhunt.
I wanted to get his face up here while we talked, so people can be seeing him while we're chatting. Because again, nationwide manhunt on him, but I want it to be a drumbeat that you do not. Whenever we have anyone on here, now I know that sometimes your first gut instinct and reaction is to lunge, depending on what the situation is, especially if somebody's done heinous things to children, right? Is to approach or to subdue, or just kind of that want, right? It's almost like this instinct that comes out of oneself that you kind of have to hold back, rein in, and control yourself, right? So when anybody that we talk about on here that could be a suspect, a person of interest, I'm going to tell you, I never want you approaching them, okay? I don't ever want you to approach them. I never want you to talk to them. I want you to get yourself into a very, very safe location, and I want you to call 911 with the people that have, say, bulletproof vests, right? Tasers and guns. And I want you to put your body behind them, okay? And I want them to approach the person, okay? So I never want anybody that we present on this show, I never want to tell my audience to approach them. I want you to think of them as rattlesnakes, okay? And they are coiled rattlesnakes. So they can lunge at you, all right? And kill you. So I want you to think of these animals, when I put them on my screen, as rattlesnakes. And we learn to stay away from rattlesnakes, okay? So we're not going to approach anybody. If we ever see somebody that we present on this channel, we're going to call law enforcement, and we're going to do our part and let our voice be heard on the 911 call, okay? We're never going to approach. Let me say this again for the people in back. You do not approach these people. They are dangerous, and they've got nothing to lose, okay? This guy looks so innocent. I have to be honest with you. When I saw this case, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. But now knowing that this man has mental illness, and we did see a car, so it is, we could assume now it may be her car, and he may still have a secondary car. We don't know anything about the car. For right now, it appears that at least one car is being pulled out of somewhere. So it's possible he does not have a vehicle. If that's the case with this mental illness and the fact that he, was talking about unaliving, if there is anybody watching that knows this family or anything, if this young man has a special place, his favorite fishing spot, a favorite camping spot, some place that brings this man ultra peace, that would be my suggestion of a place that you may want to go to find him, because it sounds like his life is really chaotic now, and it sounds like he would probably be heading to some place that makes him feel calm. That would be something that I would think he may be doing right now. I don't know. It is sad because they looked like what we would want for our own children or grandchildren. A picturesque backdrop. Obviously we learn doing this job that, what goes on behind closed doors, it can be a nightmare for people. We can sit there and look all on the outside and judge a book by its cover and see this picturesque backdrop. A young woman and a young man, 4 beautiful children living in this beautiful home, driving these beautiful cars. Boy, their life looks perfect. Boy, I would love to have the life like them. And this is where I tell you, be careful what you wish for, right? Because we're finding out more and more as these days go on and tick by that, these are illusions. Some of these people living this lifestyle, they're barely making it. They're having struggles. It's causing internal turmoil going on behind closed doors that people are unaware of. And they're talking about him having like this onset of mental illness. It almost appeared that this mental illness just came out of nowhere. And from my understanding, now somebody that has more experience in mental illness than I needs to probably correct me on this. But if I recall, I think that there is actually almost a triggering point in a young man's life where mental illness may not have been known or realized, and then it's like they hit this certain age and their body almost changes a little bit and they start showing the mental illness that they never once showed. I've heard that a lot, and it's predominantly in guys, and it's predominantly a mental illness that they have acquired from their father. If I remember everything correctly, I read this stuff a long time ago, but I remember it was something with the boy, the age, and it coming from the father. I remember reading about that, but I can't remember the pieces or how those went together. But that may be what, this may have been onset by her or triggered by her leaving, but there had to have been something going on in the home for her to want to leave. So there was already this hostile dynamic going on inside the home. So what triggered that? And usually what triggers those things in marriages, there's only a few things that trigger that kind of anger and animosity, and it's usually finances, barely keeping your head above water, right? Usually if you're blending a family and you got stepchildren and you're trying to do all that really does drive hostility in the home. So you got money, you got hostility, that, and then you've got, and there might be more that I'm not thinking about, but these are the 3 that I can think of that are like major ones. And the other one's infidelity. When somebody starts having an affair on one another, you start seeing a heightened jealousy and stuff like that. So there could be several factors that's going on inside this home. It might just be that he just woke up one day and what they didn't know was that he had this gene for mental illness, and it just reared its ugly head, and maybe he didn't know how to handle it. But I really have no clue. But that's Aaron Pennington, and he is on the run today. They are looking for him again. Killed his wife, the mother of his 4 beautiful children, and it's just a sad day. This happened. It's within the last 24 hours. All this stuff started breaking up, and now it's starting to go national. And I wanted to make sure that his face was brought here. We are running his story. We're running the story for Breanne. I can't even imagine. Just prayers for the Pennington family. They're going to be struggling a lot because it's their son, right? In addition to Brianna's family, or Breanne, I think it's Breanne, not Brianna, it's Breanne. Breanne. So again, just say a prayer for this family. There's just a lot of devastation today for them. A lot of devastation. And that just doesn't stop there. It really just doesn't stop there. We also have another story that's coming up. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this. This was way before I was ever even on YouTube or ever even doing true crime. I watched this stuff, right? I was you at one point in time. And now I'm me. And I'm on this side of the screen instead of that side of the screen. But once upon a time, I was sitting in your position and I was watching all these news articles. And there was this one about this, like, I want to say newborn. Okay, that's what at the time. This was back in 2018, I believe, and I would say that 2 weeks old is a newborn to me. I don't think I would have classified this child as anything else other than a newborn. And something happened. So there was this boyfriend and girlfriend, and they were living together. They were really, really messed up. I mean, both of them were messed up on drugs, everything. I mean, the dude, yeah, he looked like something straight out of the pits of hell. I'll be honest with you. Again, I'm judging. I own it. Okay, I own it. I don't know the man, never talked to the man. I'm going to judge him, and he looks like he's straight out of the pits of hell. Okay, sue me. I'm me. And apparently, he must have lost his cool with the baby or was high. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever been really clear on why he injured this child. I mean, there's a lot of hypotheticals. There's a lot of hypotheticals out there, but I don't know if I ever knew exactly specifically why he did anything to this child. But obviously the girl, the mother was in the home at the time. I don't think she knew what was going on. I don't think she knew he even left with the baby. Either way, the baby died from blunt force trauma. She was kind of, if I recall correctly, I don't know if they had the court hearing. I didn't watch the court hearings. I've got them all pulled up, but I wasn't going to spend the hours to watch them because that's not the point I'm trying to make. But I think they may or may not have had their trials together. Either way, she got the book thrown at her for second-degree murder, for child torture, or something like that. Some really heinous charges. But here's the kicker: yeah, she was dating this awful man, and she had a baby with this awful man, and she was really messed up on a lot of stuff. But she didn't know that he was going to injure that child. She didn't. I mean, again, this is the child's father, by the way, not a stepfather, the child's father. And yeah, they were all messed up, but I don't know anybody that thinks that their person is, their guy is so messed up that they're going to kill their child. I don't think, I mean, I think, a show of hands, who would think that? I mean, some of you guys have been around some twisted, MFers. And when have you thought that they would do something like that? Come on. I've been around some pretty sick, twisted people and never worried about them doing anything. I mean, you're not talking about an SA type of a situation. You're just talking about straight up abuse to a 2-week-old child, which I can kind of understand, drugs, a baby crying all the time. It probably was very hostile for addicted parents. I couldn't even imagine. But either way, my stance. I want the bad people in jail. Should she have been charged with something? Oh, absolutely. Hands down, she should have been charged with negligence. I mean, endangering the child. I mean, there was a whole host of charges that she could have been charged with that were more in line with what she did than, this whole second degree type of situation. Well, she went to the Supreme Court back in 2022, and they reversed some of those charges. Well, she just went back before the Supreme Court again, and it looks like she might be actually making some headway. And again, this is a case where the state really didn't prove their case. But this is where you can really get a jury and emotional. So you have an emotional jury as let's put ourselves in those jury's positions, right? Those jury members' positions. This is a 2-week-old baby. I don't know anybody that wouldn't be infuriated, right? Infuriated. But I think that this was a situation where we had an ultra emotional jury that allowed their emotions to overcome their common sense. And I say that in all love. I really do. I mean, God bless. I can't imagine what those jury people went through. I can't imagine some of the graphic photos that they saw. I can't imagine. I'm sure it was a natural emotional response how dare this woman be on drugs? How dare this woman put this child in the, shame on her, shame on her, shame on her. I think really, and that's really what I'm, all this legal ease from the, all this legal ease from the state and defense. I just really think that what they did is they thought they had something and they didn't. They thought she was more evil, or maybe everybody was just angry with her, right? Maybe everybody was just angry with her for allowing this to happen, and she just got railroaded. Do I think she committed crimes? I absolutely do. Do I think that she committed the crimes that she's facing jail for? 20 years? No, I don't. And I'm sorry, but you know me, I want the bad guys, the truly bad guys, I want them in jail. I want a fair system. And I think that the Supreme Court is right on this. I really do. As heinous as this case is, I think they're right. I think that they're making correct decisions. And I think she has served a lot of her time. And I don't think she should be off the hook. But I don't think she had anything to do with that child's death other than being negligible and negligent and endangering that child. That was her crime, not the murder itself. Not sure what's going on with my, let me try this.
Tonight, she remains behind bars for that 2017 conviction.
The baby's father will spend the rest of his life in prison. Joe Ripley reports on the decision that now lies with the Georgia Supreme Court.
If the charge is overturned, the case would go back to the Superior Court and she would be released.
One felony charge of what amounts to child neglect marks the difference between Newton County mother Courtney Bell spending several more years behind bars and walking free. Her fate now rests in the hands of the Georgia Supreme Court.
She's hopeful. Obviously, she's still
she wasn't eligible for parole or eligible to be released from jail until I think 1933. So another 10 years she would have been in jail.
But she's hopeful that they'll get it right on this one.
Eric Crawford represents Bell, who's been in prison the last 4 years. In 2019, she was convicted of 3 felony charges linked to the brutal, deadly beating of baby Kalia. The newborn was just 2 weeks old when she was killed in 2017. The baby's father, Christopher McNabb, was convicted on 8 felony charges. I'm sorry.
That dude right there is creepy to me. Let me blow this up. I want you to see this. Now, guys, don't misunderstand me. I know people that have tattoos on their face. It's not the whole tattoos on their face. It's the fact that he's got his daughter's name above his eyebrow. That's really just. And I know he had it probably done before he killed his baby daughter. But his baby daughter was only 2 weeks old when she lost her life. And I'm sorry. Like, I want to literally take a scalpel and remove that name off of his face. Like, I'm sorry. That dude looks straight out of the pits of freaking hell, if you ask me. I feel evil through this computer when I see this man. Now, I have to be honest with you. I don't think too much of Kalia's mama either. The one that's being released. I think I pray for her, and I pray that she has learned a valuable lesson. And I pray that as sick and twisted as this story is, that maybe her daughter may have saved her life. And I always look for the silver lining in these horrible, wicked stories. And I pray to God that if Kalia's mother gets a second chance at life, that she doesn't squander it in her baby girl's name. But this guy right here,
and will spend the rest of his life in prison. Last year, a Georgia appeals court overturned Bell's felony murder and child cruelty charges due to lack of evidence.
To hold her criminally accountable for something that she couldn't predict and something that was so personally devastating to her, I don't think it's right. So I hope that
I don't think it's right either. You know what? But I have to be honest. When I heard this story back in the day, there was no pity from me. Like I would never have reviewed this story like I am today, because again, it was an emotional time, and it was a 2-week-old child. And how could you not know? How, you're looking at a bunch of people on a bunch of drugs with a brand new baby. For the normal people that don't understand that, we're thinking, okay, well, they just chose to get high over their child. They just wanted to get their child gone. The child's driving them nuts. That's what we thought about both of them, but it may have just been just the one. And this girl, from my understanding and everything that I read, she was really devastated the day that this was all going on. This was not a person that seemed to be oblivious to the fact that she loved her daughter and that she wanted her daughter with her. It was my understanding that she was absolutely just destroyed by this news about her daughter. That's my understanding. Now, how true that is, I don't know. But if I remember correctly, she was absolutely devastated at the moment, and that's not indicative of somebody that I guess second degree murder is that you didn't mean to do it. It was something that just came right then and there. That's kind of the definition. It wasn't premeditated, so maybe frustration. We'll never know what happened. But that's not what they're arguing here. What they're arguing here is there was not enough evidence to support the conviction, and the Supreme Court believed that. And that was back in 2022. They've just had another ruling here in the last, a few days? I think there was something that brought this whole thing back. And I think it was, maybe it's this one. But she might actually, this is when this happened. This is why, right here. Look at her. She looked evil. Look at this photo. This is her booking photo. Like she looked the part of having some major problems. And I guarantee she was high as a kite when this picture was taken. It looks like there's like you can see like her scalp up here, or it could be maybe lighting, but it looks like a big clump of hair is just missing, slap dead in the middle of her head. But that was her when she got arrested. Like she was a hot mess too. That's why everybody believes she had a hand in her daughter's murder, but come to find out she didn't. And she is being she was railroaded. We have a lot of stuff here related to the 911 calls. I've got the 911 calls. There's several different calls that were listed. And it takes you almost like this walk through all the 911. Where the heck are they? Are they here? No. Oh, I wonder if it's under here. Maybe that's what I'm doing. Are these them? No. Might be law and crime. Here it is. And this just came in February. I'm still trying to find the stupid 911 calls. There they are. I found them. Here they are. So now we'll walk through everything. So this was before. So we know when she lost her life. This is from August
12145 Highway 36, Lot 31. Bust the people that rented it is busting the windows out of it.
Okay, give me the address again.
Ma'am.
I'm sorry, what's the address again? 12145 Highway 36?
Yes, ma'am. It used to be Pine Valley. They changed to Eagles Landing.
Okay.
Or Eagles Point or where.
Okay, and how may I help you there?
you need to send the police out here because Lot 31 is busting windows out of the trailer. And the landlord, my landlord done said, I called him, he said,
Tell me who's
hang
busting the
up and
windows
call the
out.
law.
Who is busting the windows out?
The people that reached 31, Lot
Okay,
31.
So the tenants, are they moving out?
Don't know, but they busted, they're living there. They're renting it. And he started busting windows out and started cutting.
So this is after they've moved into the trailer. They moved into the trailer, and I've got a photo of the trailer. The trailer is like a single wide trailer. It looks really run down. And I guess shortly after they moved in, they had this altercation. So you're talking about a very volatile situation.
October 3rd, 2017, 5 hours, 52 minutes, and 52 seconds p.m.
Newton County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hello.
Yes, can I help you?
My dad and them came to my house. My dad and my grandparents came to my house. They had my little girl in the car. I took my little girl. They went to my cousin's house where my kids were. And took my newborn that I just had, and they took my car.
Why did they do that?
Said that they were taking my kids.
All right, what address did they take them from?
12145 Highway 36, Covington, Georgia 30014.
I bet she wished she would have let her parents take the kids now. Take her daughter, her brand new baby. They tried to save that baby.
All right, 12145 Highway 36.
Yes.
And this was back,
Is that
again,
Eagle
2018.
Yes.
What lot number?
Excuse me, 2017.
30.
30?
31, ma'am. And I came to a friend's.
Where are you at now?
Sarah. I'm sorry.
Where are you at now?
I'm trying to find my friend to get her address. Hey, what's your address? What is your address? 1837. 1837 Woodlawn Road.
Okay.
So she's reporting her father, and I'm not going to, it's a 5-minute recording, and I don't want to spend that much time on it. I only wanted to make this about an hour, and we're kind of down to the wire. So
October 3rd, 2017, 6 hours, 47 minutes, and 17 seconds p.m.
Newton County 911, where's your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. Can you send the police out to my house at 65 Loudon Drive, Covington, Georgia 30014?
Yeah, 65 Loudon Drive. What's going on there?
Yes, ma'am. It's containing my grandchildren. You have got a police dispatch now. I'm on the phone with my daughter, but she won't let me talk to the police, okay?
Okay.
She left both her kids. They abandoned both their kids last night at my niece's house. My niece called me today at 4:30. Could not get in touch with her or the daddy. I went to pick one of the young'uns up, the 2-week-old up. She snatched the 2-year-old out of the car, so I come on home, okay? Well, I called Mr. Philip Bradford. Mr. Philip Bradford is one of my buddies there. He worked for the city police department when I got back home to find out what I needed to do, okay? He's supposed to be sending me a number through text for the 1-800 for the defects number to where you can call them, okay?
Yeah, so right now, hold on one second, let me try to figure this out. So right now, you have the baby right now?
I have the 2-week-old baby sitting on my kitchen table in there.
Okay,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
right. And so your daughter is not there right now, the daughter or the father of the baby?
No.
So you just have
no,
questions
no.
on what you can do with about the situation?
The father, I think he is on the run from the police, okay?
So this was the chaos that was engulfing this young family at this time. Daughter's on drugs, boyfriend's on drugs. She's got children. You know, the family's trying to save the children because people on drugs make terrible, terrible choices. And a lot of their terrible choices end up hurting the children. So you've got an entire family sitting here and trying their darndest to get this child away from her and away from a bad situation before anything happens to this child. And then, not even, I think it was just a few days later or a week later, this child is dead. Both parents arrested in 2018, I believe. I think January 2018. See if it has it in here. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I think they were arrested at the beginning of 2018. And she was arrested as if she knows what happened. And apparently it was the father that took the child out of the home and ultimately unalived that child with blunt force trauma. Yet they convicted the mother. And now the mother finally has an opportunity to have some freedom and try to put her life back together. Now, I, again, don't agree 100% with all of this. I really don't. I reviewed the parts of the case that I could review, you know, because I only have so much access to certain things, such as like case text, you know, whenever, oops, let me put that back up, like this, you know, and it kind of breaks down the case for me. So this is what I'm left with to research and look at. And it appears, based on what I'm reviewing here, is that it was an emotional jury. It was an emotional verdict. And the Supreme Court has now had to go back several times to clean it up. And she didn't deserve to be put in jail for a second-degree murder charge. I personally, I'd like you guys to look at this. This is the McNabb case, Kalia McNabb, and Kalia's name is spelled like Callie, C-A-L-I, and then you know, Y-A-H. So Kalia. So I'd like you guys to kind of peruse over this case. Again, it's from a while ago. But because she's, you know, I tell you that we have a great system here. We do. It's not a perfect system, but I truly believe it's a fair system. It's the fairest we've got, right? Again, not perfect. That means even though it tries to be fair for everybody, it's an imperfect system, but it's the best thing that we've got. And I can't see, I mean, you can make some modifications to it, but for the better part, I think it's a good system. I really, truly believe in the system. And we have fail-safes for things if things happen, if juries become too emotional, if evidence that shouldn't have been submitted were submitted. For example, that's the whole reason for the appellate court to begin with. And so this is being utilized right and rightfully so. But again, it's like everything else. The wheels of justice turn slow. So even when you have to appeal such a massive mountain, it's still doable. It's still doable. When something isn't right and you truly didn't have anything to do with it, you will eventually prevail. Never give up. Never lose sight of the goal. Did she do wrong? She absolutely did wrong. And she will absolutely have to pay for that, you know, for the rest of her life. She lost her child. But she also is, as horrible as the situation is, she didn't have any hand in it. They acted like she was the one that beat that child, and that was just not the case. And she was paying the price as if she beat the child or knowingly beat the child. And again, that wasn't the case. She was neglectful, and she put that child in harm's way, and that child ultimately lost her life over that. But it wasn't at her hands, and she had no idea that it was going to happen. And that is something you cannot fault her for. You cannot say that she is responsible for that child's death. There's only one person responsible for that child's death, and that is that child's father. He is the one that made the conscious effort to take that child. He's the one that made the conscious effort to abuse that child, which ultimately led to that child's demise. And the mother has had to pay for that mistake plus mistakes she didn't earn. And so I think that this was a right decision. I really hope she learns from this, and I really hope she doesn't allow Kalia's name to die in vain, or Kalia to die in vain, because I hope Kalia in some sense saved her mother and saved her mother's life and gave her mother an opportunity to start over again. Not too many people get this opportunity in life. When you've gone so far down in the crap hole, you don't get second chances like this. Very few and far between ever happen. So, I pray, I really truly do pray for her mother. And I pray for her mother that her mother doesn't squander this opportunity. That is really the only thing I can say. A child died. Don't squander that opportunity. Don't squander that opportunity. Anyways, guys, that's what I had. Like I said, it's a pretty rotten news week. Or news day. I have to be honest. I wasn't expecting to, most of the stuff is stuff I won't cover. And I got to say today, when I was doing my review, I'm like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, right? It was just one case after another of just rottenness of people that's supposed to love and protect each other and have your six. These are the people's wreaking the most havoc in some of these people's lives. Guys, you got to check the people. Check your people, right? You got to worry about the boogeyman under the bed. And you got to worry about the boogeyman right in your face. So, all right, guys, you guys will have a great day. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. It was great. And I hope you guys learned something. And again, I do want you to please go read this Caitlin story. I would like to talk about it. I'd like to have a good discussion on it, but it's a case that's so far back in time. But I would like to review this because we talk about law and we talk about crime all the time. But what happens whenever we say, I don't know, I don't even know. I'm just, I'll be honest with you, I'm just so in left field with how people can do this to their families. I'm glad that we may be off. We may have our own family problems, but damn, we ain't them, right? We have a lot to be thankful for. Thank you, God. God is great. Don't forget, man, you got to be appreciative for what you have. It may not be what other people have, but hey, look at these stories we covered of a family literally looking like they had it all. And look what chaos and drama they have behind their closed doors. We really need to be thinking what we value. Do we value the prestige, the notoriety, or do we value the more important things, right? Because a lot of people come on here and they'll play like tease about numbers and stuff. And I always tell them it's not about quantity, it's about quality. What kind of quality do you have in your life? God bless.